Alexis is back for revenge, Blake is on trial for murder, and Krystle doesn't feel very well. Welcome to Dynasty.
There are those who might call it handsome. I called it obscene.
I'm Natasha Taylor-Bryson, and I'm watching a lot of Dynasty for a book I'm writing. Thought you might want to watch along too. Well, let's go. So at the end of the first series of Dynasty, we got a new character. We knew it was the ex-wife of Blake, and she had turned up in court. We got a hat, we got a suit, but we didn't get a face. And that's because producer Erin Spelling wanted either Raquel Welch or Sophie Loren to take the part. But thank the soap gods that we got Joan Collins. Joan Collins, the fabulous Joan Collins. I mean, as an aside, can we just say how gorgeous she is? Every outfit she has to wear, and there's no subtlety in Dynasty. From the gorgeous to the gaudy to the ridiculous, she makes work. She plays Alexis with such great aplomb. I mean, the woman has her tongue firmly wedged in her cheek. She has her eyebrow arched to the sky, and yet she plays the part for all it's worth. It's absolutely fantastic combination, and I think that's part of what makes her character so delicious. Joan, how did you do it?
I'd rather not go into that.
It's well known that Alexis joining the cast of Dynasty saved Dynasty. It was an okay show, series 1. Something was missing. I really couldn't care about Krystle in series 1. But suddenly, with Alexis on the scene, I get to really enjoy her because let's face it, every good girl needs a bad girl to make her interesting. The influence they both had. We tuned in to watch what they wore, whether they attacked each other. I mean, that fringe. I remember everybody having some version of that flick. It was like the grown-up woman's Farrah. It was a fringe that smiled at you, and every strand of Linda Evans' hair was perfectly lacquered, layered one upon the other into this shape that was somehow soft and solid at the same time. In this perfect ash blonde, let's be honest, I miss.
That's not true. What's wrong with you?
Alexis, she's been away for 16 years. According to Blake, after their divorce, Alexis skipped town because she had a trust fund that paid her handsomely, and she didn't need to be troubled with everyday cares of family life. Alexis, Blake had persuaded her lover. Okay, it's all very convoluted. Basically, Blake and Alexis got divorced when Blake caught Alexis with their groundskeeper, Roger Grimes, I know, sexy name. Blake being Blake, attacked him with a candlestick, beat him to within an inch of his life, suddenly got an attack of remorse and gave him lots of money, presumably to pay for his hospital bills. And then Roger agreed, possibly for more money, that he would, if Alexis ever came back into town, go on stand and say that it was Alexis that had attacked him with a candlestick. I know, all very Cluedo. The main thing you need to know, she's back. The hat, the suit, we have a body. And what a body. Check out this wiggle. When reuniting with one's family after 16 years, naturally, what you would choose to do is to make your appearance at court, where your ex-husband is on trial for the murder of your son's lover. And what does one wear to court? She knows there's going to be soliloquizing, there's going to be monologuing. She needs a wide-brimmed hat. She needs a veil. She needs sunglasses. She's going to burn down Blake's whole world, and we're going to have a lot of fun watching her do it. Blake. Can we have a word? Now, I know you have this whole CEO Masters of the Universe thing going on. I mean, as an aside, I thought this was something that was from the 80s and had stayed there. Apparently not. 2017, it's alive and well. That aside. So, Blake, I know your approach to business and life is very much slam the table and demand whatever it is you want. Outside the court, where you are on trial for the murder of your son's lover. In fact, the jury have just retired to decide whether you're guilty or not. You do this.
I warned you that if you ever repeated that to anyone,
You'd kill me.
That still holds.
Even for you, that seems a little... If she wasn't gunning for you before, my word, is she going to be gunning for you now? Stephen seems mildly pleased to see his mother. I mean, to be fair, he's at trial. But what I love about their reunion is the music. Soundtrack, like Toy Soldier, Nutcracker meets Nursery Room Twinkling.
You said to me, "Why do you have to go, Mummy?" And I said, "I have to find a rainbow to paint. The most special rainbow that I can find." Do you remember what you said, Stephen?
That there are rainbows here in Denver sometimes. Aren't they special enough?
The music alone is worth the episode. Well, Alexis's wiggle and the music. So Fallon is having none of it. She greets her mother with crossed arms and tries to give her some flack.
You're even more beautiful and more ugly than that grand English lady I vaguely remember, and whom I've tried very hard to forget existed these past 16 years.
Now, in series 1, Fallon was written to be the bitch. She was supposed to be the villain. And if we're being generous, and let's be generous, she's a neophyte. She's a bitch in waiting. She was just a bit annoying and mixing up the plot to keep everything going. You need some elan. You need an arch eyebrow.
I'm glad to see that your father had your teeth fixed, if not your tongue.
This little exchange proves who is the alpha bitch. Even she looks terrified when she sees her later in court. She doesn't so much look upset, but terrified. She knows. So the painting. I'm referring to the portrait that Alexis gives Stephen. Oh, can we just have a moment? That halter neck. I love Alexis casual. You know, halter neck without a bra, the bangle on the arm. I mean, you're not going to see her lolling around in sweats, are you? Love it. Anyway, she gives her son a portrait that she had done from memory while they were apart. Is it me? Or does Stephen in the portrait with that singularly peculiar smile look like a Nazi youth who has just turned in his parents? I don't know, it creeps me out, it always has. So, shoulder pads. They originally were included in the show because Linda Evans had very broad shoulders. Nolan Miller, the designer who dressed everyone in the show, decided rather than work against Linda's broad shoulders, he would exaggerate them. Now this makes sense. He started off his career working with the likes of Joan Crawford. So this whole, broad shoulders, tiny wasp waist completely makes sense. But to normalize it, he put shoulder pads in everybody else's clothes so that everybody got broad shoulders. And as a consequence, we all got broad shoulders in the 80s. I mean, I even had t-shirts that had shoulder pads in them in the 80s. And I haven't really drifted too far from there. Shout out to Brian Dennehy. We know him from many other films. The one that comes to mind is Rambo. He's a good actor, and he's a well-known actor, and he appeared quite a lot in series 1. So we saw a lot of Brian Dennehy, ex-football player, now DA, really hates Blake, because in soap opera everything has to be personal no matter what your job and whatever's happening. Brian doesn't get so much of a role in series 2, and I feel he knows he's on the out, so he's gonna go out in style. But when you're paired with the delicious Joan Collins in a scene, I mean, you're as likely to be upstaged by her hat, let alone her stealing the scene. What are you gonna do? He brings the energy. Oh my word. He doesn't so much chew the scenery as maul it like that bear did to Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant.
That Blake Carrington was in fact contradicting that testimony about his great love for his children. This man who forbade their natural mother from ever seeing those children again.
It's really gung-ho. It's really full on.
Children, his own children, into an emotional exile for the rest of their lives. Did that contradiction ever cross your mind?
He must have had a lot of coffee that morning.
Yes, I'm upset, Mr. Laird. I am very upset.
I like how satisfied he looks afterwards. Yeah, he knows he got it. So that was episode 1. I could have spent the whole time talking about Joan Collins' hat and veil. Love a veil.
I knew we weren't that ugly. I knew it.